Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Good. Hello, mic check. Testing. Am I hearing myself? No. Let's see. Oh. You can you hear me? No, still not there. Oh, there we go. There we go. I can hear you loud and clear now. Can you hear me now? Good. All right. Sorry about those. I thought y'all could hear me read lips. I thought y'all was good at reading what I was saying versus hearing me. But, you know, it's okay. Play as fuck up. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back. It's been a long couple of weeks, but, you know, the day goes on or life goes on. Ain't that the saying, the statement we want to go by also well. Actually, though, the last couple of weeks for me, they have been pretty heavy, man. Pretty heavy. I mean, honestly, mentally, I've been just going through the works. It's been real tough to remain focused and kind of stay motivated, stay dedicated in a way. It's been a real challenge lately. It's been a real challenge. And I mean, who am I to come here every week and talk about mental health if I don't really, you know, talk about my own? And the issues I face, you know, week after week, day after day, whatever the case may be. But these last couple weeks for me, I had an experience that I haven't had in 6.5 years. And it was crazy to even feel like I would even go there again, you know? It's ridiculous to even have that thought, to know that I was almost there again. You know, I had a bit of a mental breakdown the day after Thanksgiving, coincidentally. I always tell you, you know, holidays are always tough for me. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Holidays are always overwhelming sometimes, disappointing most of the time. And it's just mainly due to the fact that, you know, when it comes to family, I've only got the little ones I've created. You know what I mean? I see everyone else around their family, and it's kind of tough to deal with because my family, you know, that I came from, they tolerated me. They didn't really want me around. So whenever holidays come and I see everybody else so happy with their families, regardless of what they go through and what they've been through, you know, I just kind of wish I had that in a way, you know. I wish I had that in a way. And yes, I have my little ones, you know what I mean? But the holidays came around and I'm used to just working. That's just me. That's my thing. Whenever something's getting too heavy, whenever life is getting too rough, you know, I'll go on a straight overdrive mode and I'll work myself out of it, so to say. And I've come to realize lately that even that's not healthy. It's another form of, you know, hiding certain things or certain trauma that I may have been through. However, in the last couple of weeks, I just came to a different realization. Came to a different realization. Part of it is just that life is tough. You know, no one ever said it was going to be easy. No one ever said it was going to be the best thing going, the toughest thing going. But when, you know, we talk about mental breakdowns, I do want to take those serious because sometimes they're the issues between life and death, so to say. Some people can go through mental breakdowns on a daily, some people every month, some people every week, some people every once in a while, and they're built to go through them as often as they need. But some people just aren't built to have one too many mental breakdowns, and that's where you'll get the entire, stance of suicides or, harming themselves, kind of becoming a little too vulnerable in a way. I'll get more into that later on why I say that. But it is definitely, it's a tough battle, right? We all know that when we're in the dark, it's hard to see the light. But it's somewhere there, so we have to find it. Everyone has their own definition of a mental breakdown. I'm going to give a definition of, what it shows here for the actual one, or a nervous breakdown if you want to say. But when stress and feelings of worry or anxiety are there all the time and build up to a level that has an impact on a person's daily life, they may be described as having a nervous breakdown. A nervous breakdown is also known as a mental health crisis or a mental breakdown. It describes a period of intense mental distress. I like that it says distress there, because a mental breakdown, I don't want it to be looked at as like a disease. Some people think having mental breakdowns can be a disease, but in all fairness, it's just you being overwhelmed with life, right? And it's a mental distress. So mentally, you kind of need a break. You need a positive impact. You need something to take your mind off of it. You kind of just need to beat the negative thoughts. Because I'll be honest, I know how easy it is for those negative thoughts to take over, for those intrusive thoughts to be there, and you're just like, oh, let's go for it, I have been there before, recently as well, a couple weeks ago. I haven't been there in 6.5 years. But then I just realized so much that I take on and I try to do that I'm not really taking care of myself as much as I used to. I'm not really doing it as much as I used to. And what I mean by that is I felt like since I've become a better individual, since I've grown so much, that now I can bear more and I can take more. So when things are coming at me or hitting me in these different directions, I feel like I'm built to actually go farther now. I know it's going to be a crazy analogy, but if any of you ever watched, Dragon Ball or any anime, for the most part, I say Dragon Ball specifically because with Saiyans, every time they come to a near-death experience, they get stronger when they recover and they heal. I take that mentally with myself. I feel like every time I come through one of these crises, one of these breakdowns, one of these, mental issues that happens, whatever the case may be, when I'm fighting it, I feel like every time I come out, I get stronger. I become, a better individual, but I can take on more now. Now I've learned from this, I've learned from that, and ultimately I can handle this and I can handle that. I can deal with it all without worrying about it affecting my day-to-day life, because in the past I was too weak to deal with it. And that was never the case. It's always been to the fact that I keep overloading myself with it, and I'm not really taking the time out for me anymore, because I feel like I've done all the work that I need for me. Now let me be there for the kids. Let me make sure I go to work so I can take care of bills, take care of home, be a responsible adult. It's tough, I do everything on a day-to-day basis alone, and I get to see my kids a few times out the week. I wish it could be more, and I say it all the time. It tears me apart that my kids can't grow up in a 2-parent household, tears me apart. But life is just, sometimes life doesn't work out the way you want it to, that's another thing with it too. But will I let that stop me from being a great father? No. I do want to try to spend more time and be more involved with my little ones, for sure. But in the last couple of weeks, I have been doing that. Of course, we had the whole week fun for Miracle's birthday, and then all of that happened on Friday, and I've been out of it, man. I'm not ashamed to admit that I have been out of it. I took like 5 days off of work, and I probably couldn't afford it, but I did it because I knew I would make it. I would make it work. I'd make it happen. But I took about 5 days off of work, and let me tell you something. In those 5 days, before I get there, if you all noticed, I've also been antisocial. I haven't been talking to anyone. I haven't been responding to anyone. I have a burner phone, a little burner phone for emergency purposes only, and to make sure I get my children or speak to them. But I don't have any social media at the moment. I don't have any type of communication with everyone right now, and it's nothing personal. It's just I'm taking a step back. I'm taking what I call a mental reset, and it's been a couple weeks already, right? It's going good, like I've taken the time out to step back and get back in touch. I've been able to kind of, focus a little more, but I plan on doing this mental reset. I can't tell you how long it'll go on because I just want to get back to me. I want to feel like myself again, and there's no communication on that end. So that's the reason I wasn't, in last week. My apologies there. But honestly, it's been tough. It's been tough for me, but I'm fighting to get through it, and I will get through it. I definitely will get through it. But I kind of want to talk about the experiences I had with all of that, which I'll get to in a second. But also, getting back to taking off of work, this is part of my mental reset. No phones, no social media. I literally, on my off days now, I kind of just sit at home, or I'll go take a walk, go take a jog. Something to get me back to nature, to reality in a sense. I typically have just been trying to relax, and enjoy the small victories, the small wins. That's what I'm really trying to do. I've gotten in the sense that because of everything that went on in the last couple of weeks, I haven't really been able to trust my mind for the way it's thinking. So I have kind of passed the torch on to my heart, to let my heart take over and let my heart keep me dedicated and keep me motivated, keep me going in a great direction, in a good direction, the right direction, I should say, because my mind has just been all over the place, and I don't like the intrusive thoughts, I don't like the negativity. I don't like the way I think and operate off of it now. I kind of move at a slower pace mentally because I'm just kind of concerned for myself. So I just want to get back to where I am. So for a little while, I'll let my heart do most of the thinking, which I don't think is a bad thing right now. I think that's exactly what I need, to be honest with you. I think that's, where I should put my focus at. But this mental reset is, it's definitely needed for me. Everybody else may say, well, some people will like to reach and say overreacting, but I tell them when it comes to your mental health and your mental well-being, you should never feel like you're overreacting when you want to take care of it. You know what I mean? Personally, I think this is the best move I could have made, especially towards the end of the year. It gives me time to kind of get ready, get set, get focused for the next year, make a game plan, make a goal that I want to get to and how I want to reach these different goals. I can kind of put my focus back into the things that I love to do, especially like coming here every week. I want to be able to still do that, because when life gets pretty shitty, you don't see none of the light. You don't see none of it. And it sucks. It is horrible, I'll tell you that much. And now I just kind of want to talk about a mental reset and kind of how to start that, because I've looked more into it, onto how to start it, because again, in which I'll get into the way I was thinking, I definitely needed to put this in a focus. It says you should start exercising regularly, which I'm only doing push-ups, but it's something. Or, taking a walk around the apartments or jogging around the apartments, whatever the case may be. Ideally outdoors, so I do that partially. Use mindfulness and meditation to stay present. I went back to using this Headspace, a meditation app, or a guide to meditation. And it's difficult at first, because the first thing you have to do that they teach you about meditating is, it says your mind is a freeway. And this is always the hardest part for me, and I don't know why. It says you need to focus on one thought, and avoid any other thoughts that come your way. So think of it as other cars on the road. You need to focus on the road itself and not the other cars. But it's so hard, because when I sit there and I try to do it, it's like the harder you try, the more thoughts come your way that you're trying to avoid. And I think it's because you're trying to avoid them that you're subconsciously still thinking about them. So you're focusing on it. So I'm just trying to work my way around that. But I do love that little app. And it says make restoring good sleep a priority, which I have been trying to do at least 7 hours. And if I can't do 7, I'm sorry, I try. But I've been, we'll get there. Rome was not built in a day, and I don't expect this to be fixed in a day, But this here says mental exhaustion symptoms, causes, and ways to cope. This article is kind of a way to give you steps to improve your mental well-being, to kind of help you get through some things or tough times that you may see fit. If getting out, because for the first few days, man, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. I was just over it. If getting out of bed after a good night's sleep feels impossible sometimes, you might be suffering from mental exhaustion. Maybe your job has been extra demanding lately, you've been caring for a sick family member, or you just haven't been prioritizing self-care. Whatever the reason, this kind of prolonged stress can lead to symptoms of mental exhaustion, like fatigue, no matter how much sleep you get, lack of motivation personally and professionally, persistent feeling of overwhelm, anxiety, or apathy, trouble completing tasks at work. If any of these sound familiar, you're not alone. Nearly 75% of workers have reported similar feelings since the coronavirus pandemic. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Don't believe it has anything to do with me personally with the coronavirus. But here's the good news. There are steps you can take to move past mental exhaustion and start thriving again. Here's everything you need to know about the symptoms and causes of mental exhaustion, plus how to cope with and overcome it. Wow. I am really think about that, actually. All right. So what is mental exhaustion? Mental exhaustion is a feeling of extreme tiredness, characterized by other feelings including apathy, cynicism, and irritability. You may be mentally exhausted if you've recently undergone long-term stress, find it hard to focus on tasks, or lack interest in activities you usually enjoy. Mental exhaustion often happens as a result of overuse, like physical overuse injuries. For example, think of a repetitive stress injuries like carpal tunnel or tennis elbow. Mental and emotional exhaustion just comes from overstressing your mind, rather than overstressing a muscle group. Ooh. And by the way, this is from betterup.com. This blog is from September, so I wanted to let you all know that. I'll be forgetting sometimes to give you that. How can you be exhausted mentally? Mental exhaustion is completely possible and is probably more common than it should be. After a long period of stress or time of intense emotions, mental exhaustion is bound to happen. And that's what I didn't realize, that no matter how hard I tried to fight it, you're going to get exhausted sooner or later. Just like our bodies show symptoms after we push too hard, our minds are bound to display signs of mental exhaustion if we don't take proper care. What are the symptoms of mental exhaustion? Now, this is how you would know if you are suffering from mental exhaustion. Mental exhaustion symptoms can range from tiredness when you wake up in the morning to a deep sense of apathy about work, friendship, and life. It feels like cynicism, emptiness, and inability to focus, and even a sense of hopelessness. Now, I know they keep using the word apathy in there. I actually learned that one time in orientation at work. It's so funny. But to make it easier, because a lot of people, I didn't know it until, I was at work one day and learned it. But it's just basically like a lack of interest, lack of interest, enthusiasm, and concern, I believe. Concern. But I had to at least let that be known. Sorry. All right. The mental fatigue can also trigger your sympathetic nervous system, leading to feelings of panic, anxiety, and worry. These mental exhaustion symptoms can make daily life incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. That said, understanding the symptoms will help you face them head on and learn how to overcome mental exhaustion. Below are some of the most common ones. Now, emotional symptoms related to mental exhaustion can be feeling a lack of interest in normal activities. So let's say you normally like going to the gym, or you normally like going to go play basketball, but you just stopped doing it, right? You ain't doing it because you just don't feel like it. You could be mentally exhausted. Lack of motivation at work and in your personal life. Let's say you like me and got the most bubbly personality, but right now you just kind of, you're playing the chill guy because you just don't really have it in you. A sense of languishing or a lack of purpose in life. That is huge to me on a level because that's kind of what I was dealing with, a sense of, or a lack of purpose in life, actually. Moodiness and irritability, getting easily annoyed with others, cynicism, doubt, and pessimism, like you just have nothing positive to say. A persistent feeling that something bad is about to happen. Wow. Constantly feeling overwhelmed or stressed. Depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts. If you are experiencing these, please seek professional help right away, which I got some information for that too. Physical symptoms related to mental exhaustion, fatigue or exhaustion even after a full night's rest. Sleep disturbances and changes in pattern, either too much or too little. Headaches, body aches, and muscle tension. Changes in appetite. Stomach issues and digestive upset, but I got stomach problems all the time, so I don't really want to blame that on that. Or maybe that could be the reason I'm always mentally fucking tired. Unexplained or frequent colds. I don't get sick that often, so I'm not worried about that. High blood pressure or irregularities in heart rate. Now the heart rate part, yeah, but blood pressure is always good. But I am getting up there in age. I'm 31 now, so I better be careful and watch out for it. Behavioral symptoms related to mental exhaustion, inability to sit still, difficulty relaxing, forgetfulness or trouble concentrating, reduced focus or procrastinating. Hello, it's like it's knocking at my door with these little statements. Isolating oneself from others. What did I say I'm doing? A sense of going through the motions, definitely. Lashing out at friends, coworkers, or loved ones, which I definitely don't feel like y'all deserve any of that, so I do not do it. Self-medicating through the use of alcohol, drugs, or other things like video games, excessive work, or physical activity. Now, the video games was a actual substitute because part of me wanted to just go back to drinking so bad. I wanted to just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to drinking. Everything was so much better when I drank my life away. It was so much easier to deal with it. It took so much of the pain out of me when I was drinking. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Anyway, exhaustion at work and trouble completing tasks, out of character lifestyle changes like increased risk-taking behavior. I don't think I've gotten that far yet. Side effects of being mentally exhausted. Mental exhaustion is difficult enough to deal with on its own. However, the side effects of being mentally exhausted can compound the problems. People who are mentally and emotionally exhausted often experience these side effects. Difficulties in relationships, decreased performance at work, including more mistakes, inability to follow complex ideas or resolve challenges, reduced self-improvement, huh? All right, reduced self-improvement. Feelings of disconnection and isolation, taking more time off of work or missing social events. Hello, but I ain't taking no. I took that week off, but other than that, I don't take off work. Depression or anxiety, reduced resilience to stress and negative emotions. God, you hit it on the nose with that one. Missed opportunities, lack of follow-through with important projects, decreased satisfaction across all areas of life, affected decision-making and long-term planning capacity, decreased physical health, and a lack of fatigue management. And that's so crazy. And you know what causes mental exhaustion? It can be caused by many things, typically though, people feel mentally tired after experiencing long-term stress. This is especially true if the stressors increase a person's cognitive load or reduce their resources. For example, you may be responsible for completing a challenging project with many moving parts and trade-offs. This would require a high level of project management skills and political savvy. For example, increased load. Another example would be traveling for work. Constantly changing time zones will leave you feeling jet lagged. Reduced resources. Many stressors involve both reduced resources and increased load. Wow, I didn't think about that. And work travel to an unfamiliar country where you don't speak the language amps up the cognitive load. Taking care of a sick family member may involve coordinating medical care and interpreting unfamiliar terms while managing emotions, which, increase load. But you may also be getting less sleep, which is reduced resources over time, increased responsibility, and stress plus poor self-care can result in mental exhaustion. And that's why I want to go back to taking care of me, because I think I need to get back to it, 7 common causes of mental and emotional exhaustion. Though a wide variety of stressors can cause you to feel mentally drained, we boil down the 7 most common causes of mental exhaustion below. 1 is chronic stress. Now, this is the most frequent cause of mental exhaustion because chronic stress keeps your brain and body on high alert all the time. Over time, this begins to wear away at your well-being. Chronic stress can also lead to empathy or compassion fatigue. It can become difficult to muster an emotional response to the constant strain. Sometimes you'll just be like, I don't got it in me today. I don't have it in me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where to get through with this. Number 2 is uncertainty. The human stress response was designed to work efficiently in the face of short-term stress. Think fight or flight, which we all know what that means, right? Fight or flight, do or die. However, it's a much less effective response to a constant nagging feeling of uncertainty. Unfortunately, uncertainty has become far too normal of a feeling since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. This has made mental exhaustion more common than ever. I think that's because everybody had to sit there and really, pay attention to reality on the kind of people they are. Work stress is number 3. Stress at work can take many forms. It can arise from a values mismatch. Difficulty managing tasks and priorities, or a high demand, risk-oriented job. Some jobs or programs of study involve a lot of new learning. They could also require processing and making sense of a lot of information. Whatever the reason, it's not always possible to leave work at work. Left unchecked, workplace stress can even evolve into a burnout. Oh, wow. Your work stress could bleed into your weekends and ultimately develop into a bad case of the Sunday scaries. I love the name Sunday scaries. Another one is family issues for 4. Now, few things are more stressful than worrying about a family member. Being a caregiver for young children, sick relatives, or aging parents can be mentally taxing. Even if everyone's healthy, families can bring all kinds of stressors. Divorce, disagreements, and estrangements have a way of following you into all areas of your life. Ultimately, family troubles can be a big cause of mental exhaustion. Man, tell me about it. Juggling multiple commitments. In addition to caring for family, many people have other commitments on their plate. Those commitments come with details, schedules, logistics, and challenges. Balancing an intensive school of training program, a second job, or a freelance business can leave you feeling like you're never off. Yeah, in a way. If you don't know how to manage your priorities, you're at risk of becoming mentally drained. 6 is emotional stress. There are dozens of things that can cause emotional stress. No matter the cause, the experience is similar. Constant negative feelings, events, and circumstances can make it difficult to relax. This emotional exhaustion can quickly lead to mental fatigue. 7 is one of my favorites, poor self-care, because we all do it sometimes, but it's okay. Just don't stay there, Get back to it and do what you got to do. Without gas in the tank, you won't get very far. When you get busy or you're feeling a bit down, it's easy to neglect self-care. However, over time, this will affect your ability to be resilient in the face of stressful situations. If you have a chronic illness like multiple sclerosis or chronic fatigue syndrome, brain fog may be a side effect. Rather than pushing through, it's important to be especially diligent about self-care. And just to go over those, it's pretty much saying there are so many different things in life that can cause you to be mentally exhausted. A lot of those things can happen at the same time. A lot of those things can build up It's sometimes it's not just one. It couldn't be just family. Sometimes it's gonna be work and family. Sometimes it's gonna be what do you say? You juggling so many commitments, plus you sitting there trying to plus you sitting there with chronic stress, right? It can be one or the other. It can be 1 through 3. It could be all 7. It could be 2 of them, 4 of them. It don't matter what the situation may be. There's more than one thing that can cause you to be mentally exhausted. But I like that the last one said, oh, sorry. I like the last one talked about self-care. Because I realized that when you just kind of take on self-care, it makes it a little easier to carry the load. I feel like in my personal experience, from the past couple of weeks, I feel like if you look good, you can feel good. My house, my room was a mess for the first week because I didn't want to clean it. I didn't want to do anything. I was just going through the motions, as I say, going through the motions. And then one day I just got up and I decided to clean up. I cleaned up. I even put a suit on that day. You know what I mean? I felt good the entire day. It was nice. And that's when I realized it. The small wins, man, the small victories. Keep paying attention to them and just keep a positive foot forward. I know life can get tough, and I'm telling you from personal experience, life can get scary and life can get tough. Life can get hard and life can get heavy. But as long as you can look up and you can put one foot in front of the other, just keep it going. You know what I mean? Just keep it going. Now, this says, how is mental exhaustion unique from other conditions? I just want to finish this one up real quick and then I'll go over. Actually, I'm going to skip down. What I really want to go over is, it says 11 ways to overcome mental exhaustion. And it's nice to hear, because when you're mentally exhausted, even fun things sound like work, Now, this can make it even more challenging to manage stressors. However, it takes effort and awareness to change the patterns that lead to feeling mentally tired. The good news is that you don't have to tackle it all at once to start feeling better. So we're going to try these 11 strategies for overcoming mental exhaustion, okay? I don't know if I should come back to this first. No, it's okay. We'll do this one first. So you want to eliminate the stressor. So if you can eliminate the root cause of your mental tiredness, do it. Sometimes things that we think we should do take up an enormous amount of mental energy. Ask yourself, is this even something I want or need to do? And if so, does it need to be done right now? Often we can decrease our stress by relaxing our own expectations. Not everything needs to be done perfectly or at all. Manage your work-life balance. If it's not possible to get rid of what's stressing you out completely, try reducing the amount of time you spend on it. Fill your non-work, non-responsibility time with things that make you happy. Improving your work-life balance can boost your resilience, creativity, and mood. It can also keep a difficult situation in perspective until you can move past it. Clear your space. Physical clutter often takes up mental space as well. Each time that's in the way, broken, or waiting to go out represents an unfinished task. Tackling the mess will give you some breathing room and sense of peace. It will also make you feel accomplished, helping you build some momentum towards the rest of your to-do list. True. Schedule and take regular breaks. Your brain, body, and eyes need some relief from focused effort. Take a 5-minute break every hour to walk away from your desk or the task at hand. Set a timer to remind you and prioritize this time even when distractions try to get in the way. 5 is get outside. While you're changing up your environment, spend some time outdoors. The feeling of fresh air and sunlight can be invigorating. If you don't have time during work, see if you can take a meeting at the park or go over your notes at an outdoor cafe. Exposure to sunlight is important in regulating serotonin, vitamin D, and your circadian rhythm. 6 is do something new. This is the one I'm working on now, doing something new. As adults, we don't often make time to play or try new things. While you probably can't imagine adding one more thing to your plate, it's worth the effort to get out of your comfort zone. Trying new things can give you a boost of energy, especially if it's something you've always wanted to do. If the new activity is challenging or complex, you may even slip into flow, a state well known as the antidote to burnout. 7, reduce screen time. It's actually been pretty cool, this one here. Endless video calls, emails, and notifications can wear you down quickly. Your phone and email keep your mind in a constant state of responsiveness. Taking a digital detox, even if it's for a few minutes at a time, can give you a break from being on call. That's why I got rid of the phones and social media. It's just better right now for me to kind of be to myself, Find positive ways to distract yourself. When you're having trouble relaxing, it's tempting to do something to help. Take the edge off. However, this kind of escapist behavior can quickly become a bad habit that doesn't make you feel better in the long run. Instead of coping with self-medicating substances, focus on positive methods of distraction. For example, you can cope with mental exhaustion symptoms by connecting with a friend, cuddling with a pet, or even exercising. You can also try relaxation techniques or breathing exercises. 9 is taking care of yourself. Now, cortisol is known as the stress hormone, but it doesn't actually make you stressed. It helps your body respond to stress by making more glucose available, giving you a quick burst of energy. Because of this stress is extremely demanding on the body, you can combat this by making sure to drink plenty of water, eat nourishing foods, and prioritize healthy sleeping habits. 10, you want to focus on what you can control, not what you can't, right? So your challenges may seem overwhelming, and when we're stressed, we often lose sight of the resources at hand. Try making a list of every possible solution to a problem. No matter how outlandish or unlikely it may seem, you may find that more help is available than you thought. Trying to do everything alone is a shortcut to mental exhaustion. Man. Talk to a coach or a therapist. I had to, end off on this one with this one here. If you've been feeling drained for a little while, getting an outside perspective can be helpful. A therapist, coach, or counselor can help you see where you can reduce your stress. They can also provide helpful tips on improving your self-care and work-life balance. If necessary, they may even be able to help you navigate a change of career. Man, so I had to go over that because after, Thanksgiving was on the 23rd, so the 24th was Black Friday, right? It was a tough day, a tough night. Work was cool and all, but it's like after work, it was just a lot going on, and mentally everything was just getting to me, and I just felt like I was just over it all, That's why I wanted to take this mental reset, is because I don't care about needing the phone. I don't care about going out right now. I just want to I want to realign my focus, and get it back to where I want it to be. Because after that night, I was at a place in my life where I never thought I had seen it before, or I never thought I'd be there again. And I thought I was over those kind of thoughts. And man, I wasn't. You know what I mean? I wasn't. It took everything in me, and shout out to my best friend. So let me talk about it, I was at a sense of feeling lost, man. Like I had no control over what was going on. I was just powerless to my vulnerabilities. My negative thoughts, my intrusive thoughts, everything is just coming together. Life is just hitting me at one. I'd say life was cutting me one slice at a time, just leaving all kind of scars and marks on me. And it got heavy, man. It got to the point where I wanted to give into every intrusive thought, that ran across my mind. I was ready to just say, fuck it all. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I have fought so hard to get away from that. I fought so hard to get away from suicidal thoughts. I never thought I'd have to worry about those ever again in my life. 6.5 years ago, life was really heavy, and my son saved my life, man. I was feeling like I'd get him one more night, hang out with him. The next morning, everybody get the news. And my son, when I got ready to hand him off to his mom for him to go back home, he just started going crazy. He just started tripping and wilding out. And that kind of was the aha moment for me to kick me into gear. Like, oh man, he knows. Like, he's like he knew what was going on. Because the only reason he calmed down is because I grabbed him again. It's like as soon as I grabbed him, he was calm, instantly calm, no issues, no whatsoever. But if they tried to take him out of my hands or they tried to leave, he wasn't having it. So I felt like he knew, and he was just trying to give me a hey, what you doing, man? Like a heads up. And, I'm so thankful for him because of that, because he saved my life. You know what I mean? He saved my life. And then a couple weeks ago, those thoughts came back again because I just feel like I can't bear anymore. I felt like I couldn't bear anything anymore. I felt like it was just too much for me. Everything was just too heavy. Holidays were here. I got no family to turn to. Like, I didn't even get a Thanksgiving plate from anybody. And I'm only disappointed in one person. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, because that person has been disappointing me my whole life. So I should have never even expected any change from that. But I just expected a few people to at least offer it, knowing how I feel about holidays, knowing that I don't really have any family to go to, knowing that I did want some plates. Like, I like to eat, you know what I mean? All jokes aside, but none of that was happening. Nobody did none of that. Nobody even asked. Nobody reached out. It was just a crazy thought. I mean, somebody did ask, but they never fell through with it. So I guess it was a thought that counts, but they never brought it. All in all, though, with that happening the day before, and I'm already not into feeling holiday, especially since my brother died. I was ready to just end it all, man. I had an altercation that night. I had an issue that day. And it just set me over the top with everything else going on in life. Responsibilities of maintaining a home. Responsibilities of going to work. Being a father, trying to be a decent man. I'm just trying to be a good man in this world. It's not a lot of us left. It's not a lot of us out here. And it's hard to be one, especially when the world just constantly wants to kick you down. It's real, real heavy for you. I just felt like all that healing that I've done, all of that growth that I went through, all of that time I spent working on myself, all of that time I spent developing myself, I just felt like it wasn't worth it. I felt like I was over all of it. I was just ready to say fuck it, But I got some good discipline in me. Another thing is, everyone says, when you're going through those times, that you need to reach out to people. And I did my due diligence. I tried to reach out. I tried to reach out to a few people, and they were either too busy or not available. Well, they were just all not available. You know what I mean? And I went back to that thinking, it's like, this is the reason with men. They say, we don't reach out, we don't try to talk, we don't do anything, but I'm trying, And nobody was answering, nobody was responding, nobody was picking up the phone. Everybody was just not available, except my best friend. Shout out to Sydney. I really appreciate Sydney for everything that she does for me, how she's always there, just as a friend in general, as a person. I don't think I would have been able to continue so long and so far without the support I get from my best friend. I really appreciate her. She was on the phone, she called me, you know what I mean? And she called me from the freaking video I put on social media, but we talked about everything, and, she reminded me that I had stuff to fight for, stuff to live for. I had a reason to be here, a purpose. People need me. She reassured me she needed me. It was just a nice feeling. I saw two people that day show me that they really care about me. It really only takes one, and I got two. And I took that as a message. You know what I mean? I took that as a sign. The family I came from had a hard time showing me any kind of loyalty. And my brother on my father's side, shout out to Marcus. I got threatened Friday night, is what I will say. I got threatened on Black Friday. I got threatened by someone about my life being played with. And this is new to me, because I've never had family really, other than Lil Baby. I've never had nobody really stand up for me without needing a cause. You know what I mean? And my brother was in his room getting ready to go to sleep from work that day, and he heard me get threatened out the window, and he was on it. He was on it. He got up, and man, the quickness he had in just wanting to protect me and defend me. It was amazing. You know, like I said, you only need one person to help you get through something like that. And I was lucky enough to get two. So I took that as a sign that I ain't supposed to go nowhere. You know, I got to be here and fight. I got to stay strong and keep moving on. So that's why a lot of the time, I'm not going to forget the small victories. I'm not going to forget the things that keep me motivated and keep me going, keep me moving forward. Because if I keep forgetting those things, it's going to make it harder to deal with on a day-to-day basis when I'm trying to fight an already difficult battle. You know what I mean? Because of that, yes. Oh, just in case you all need to know, I thought this was pretty cool because I also reached out to the Suicide Awareness Hotline. Now, you have the original number you can call them at, which is 1-800-273-TALK. So that's 1-800-273-8255. But what's cool now is they have shortened the number so you can dial 988. Here's a step further. You can even text them at 988. And they will get you in touch with the closest crisis center in your area to make sure you can get some help. You know, to avoid those intrusive thoughts, to just kind of do better mentally. You know, don't let it bother you or exhaust you. I'll be honest. It's tough. So I had to give that out because I needed you all to know where I was coming from with why I'm taking this mental reset, you know, with the mental breakdown, where everything is going, where I've been. It's nothing personal why you haven't seen me or won't see me for a little while. It's just me getting back to my roots and taking care of myself, so that I can really avoid those intrusive thoughts, so that I don't have to worry about them. You know, I don't have to be as vulnerable to them as I have been recently. But for you all, when should you go to a wellness specialist? Because don't wait to the last minute like I did. You know what I mean? Don't wait. Yeah, I go to therapy frequently, but honestly, I went and upped my sessions now to more frequent than they were because, you know, bi-weekly or monthly wasn't cutting it, apparently. So weekly should do the job. You know what I mean? Talking to a coach, counselor, or therapist is always a good idea. However, mental exhaustion can make it hard to reach out for help, right? If you experience any of the following, you should contact a specialist right away. Panic attacks, depression, thoughts and plans of harming yourself or others, uncontrollable crying, several absences from work, being in danger of losing your job, inability to take care of your children or loved ones, lack of attention to personal hygiene. These are all indicators that your condition may be more serious than mental exhaustion. You may need professional help to begin feeling better. Even though it may feel overwhelming, mental exhaustion doesn't last forever. Mental fatigue doesn't happen overnight, and you likely won't recover overnight. But with support and self-awareness, you can begin to overcome mental fatigue and develop habits to help yourself thrive again, you know, because it's tough out there. It's tough out there. Some people say that they have burnouts, but you need to know the difference between a burnout and a mental exhaustion. Of all the conditions that we mentioned, burnout is the most similar to mental exhaustion. They share a significant number of symptoms, and both are caused by long-term stress. Burnout, though, is classified specifically as a workplace phenomenon. On the other hand, mental exhaustion can be caused by anything, not just work stress. Mental exhaustion is one area of life can often lead to a job burnout, even if the initial stress wasn't work-related. Mental fatigue shares many symptoms with burnout, depression, stress, and physical exhaustion. Because of that, we can use some of the same techniques to overcome it. You know, we can. Now, physical versus mental exhaustion is another one that you kind of just want to read up on. If you ever left the gym feeling exhausted but exhilarated, you felt the difference between mental and physical exhaustion. Physical fatigue, like mental exhaustion, comes from prolonged stress, but from stress on the body. This could be due to not getting enough sleep, an illness, or other physical strain. And depression versus mental exhaustion is also one. Depression is a mood disorder that is characterized by a persistent low mood. People that are mentally exhausted often feel depressed, and those that are depressed feel mentally drained. Many symptoms like lack of pleasure, sleep disturbance, and cognitive impairment overlap. However, the terms aren't interchangeable. Depression is a serious mental health condition that needs to be diagnosed and treated by a qualified mental health professional. Qualified, not your friend that you think just know what they're talking about. Stress versus mental exhaustion is a term that refers to anything that temporarily taxes a person's mental, physical, and emotional resources. Our bodies respond to both good and bad stress in similar ways. Ideally, we're able to quickly resolve stressors and return our bodies to a state of balance. Long-term stress leads to mental exhaustion, not the other way around. You heard that? Long-term. Yeah. So, and just remember, stress, depression, burnout, and physical exhaustion can all be easily confused with mental exhaustion. Stress, depression, burnout, and physical exhaustion can all be easily confused with mental exhaustion. Let's break down the differences between each so that you can identify which one you might be facing, which we just did. We broke them down to say which one could be where and what you can tell the difference on. I say this and I come to you all because I had a very vulnerable moment that I was ready to just end it all. And the main focus of me doing this show every week is because I want to show that you can fight it. There's strength and resources to help you. They'll give you the things you need. You got counseling, you got therapists. I'm sure you got a friend or associate, someone that will just lend an open ear. You know what I mean? Just lend an open ear. You'll never know what that person will say to you to make you feel better or to make you feel like you can kind of live to fight another day. Crazy enough. It is a tough thing to go through. It is tough to see it through because on one night you're feeling like nothing else matters because you're just going to end it right here. And then the next day you wake up and you just realize, where do you go from here? And then it takes you a few days or a week or two. And then you realize, just keep moving forward. You know, one foot in front of the other. As long as you can wake up every day and put one foot in front of the other. And I mean that physically or metaphorically, however it needs to be said, then go for it. You know, do what you got to do and just make it better. Remember what I had to remember. Rome wasn't built in a day. Not at all. Rome was not built in a day, not overnight. Nothing's going to change overnight. Nothing's going to get better overnight. It takes progress. It takes effort and consistency. Keep working at it. Keep doing better. And you'll get to where you need to be. I am on a little mental reset where I completely isolate myself unless need be. So you may see me here doing the radio show in the next few weeks. But as far as anything else, you might not really see me that often. And it's nothing personal to anyone. Don't worry about me. I'm going to be fine. You know, I'm going to get through it just like any other trauma I've been through or I've dealt with. I'll get through it and I'll make a way and I'll find a way. That actually brings me to, and I hope I say this correctly because I don't want to butcher it, but I think it was pretty cool. It says, aut viam inveniam aut faciam. And it says, I shall either find a way or make one. And I love that because that's what I need to do. I'll either find a way, and if I can't find a way to keep going forward, I will make my own path to keep going forward. You know, so I thought that was a pretty cool thing to really kind of end the show with there. And again, I hope I didn't butcher that how I said it because I didn't really look up how to say it. I just saw it and I was like, I need that. You know, that's pretty dope. That is pretty dope. I might even get that tattooed. Not even what it said, not even the English part, just how it is here. And I'll get the information on exactly where it's from originally, and I'll give it to you guys when I talk to you again. But for now, you won't really be able to reach me on socials, so I apologize. I'm not going to give that out like I do every single week. What I will say is, though, just have positive thoughts and keep me in your positive thoughts. You know, I'm going to get through it and be better. Until next week, you know, you can always catch me on the hottest radio station on the planet, which is Hot 702.5 FM. So until next week, I'll see y'all. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'll catch y'all next week.